Hello everyone, I am Dr. Zainab Rangwala from Dental Reach, and finally we are here at the end of Pronto Challenge 2. And to end it with a bang, we have with us the maestro of dental economics and finance, Dr. Bhavdeep Singh Ahuja with us to discuss ROI analysis of a direct restorative appointment. This lecture will give you a quick review with tips to keep in mind on how to cost and price your appointment with return on investment for clinic profitability. Dr. Bhavdeep Singh Ahuja graduated from Punjab University, Patiala. He has specialized in implants. Apart from dentistry, he holds a triple MBA in hospital management, finance, human resources, and marketing from three premier institutes of India. He also holds postgraduate diploma in medical law and ethics, clinical research, cyber law, intellectual property rights, disaster management, financial management, bioinformatics, amongst many more from different universities. He is a certified healthcare waste manager and is qualified in consumer law as well. He is an academically oriented dentist and has more than 250 original scientific publications to his credit in many national and international journals. He has authored 5 books on different topics of practice management published by Lambert Academic Publishing. He lectures all over India extensively on the topics of practice management, medical law, ethics, consent, and finance for dentists. And he is writing a series on these topics in multiple journals simultaneously. His YouTube channel exclusively for dentists is famous by the name of Dr. Bhavdeep Ahuja, and he posts many videos every week on these three topics for the upliftment of dental fraternity. Presently, he is into 22nd year of clinical private practice in Ludhiana, Punjab. I welcome you all to this wonderful lecture, and all your questions will be answered in the end of the session. We'll try to take the maximum questions, so in case of any doubts, you are requested to post them in the comment section. Over to you, Dr. Bhavdeep.
Thank you so much for a wonderful introduction, Dr. Zainab. Uh, First of all, thanks to M&M, Mrs. Mala, Roxanne Samuel from DR, and the whole team of DR for hosting me live on this wonderful platform. Friends, today will be weaving a story. Yes, those who have been following this platform for some time now, that is the Pronto Challenge, they know it that this is all about the dental economics part. And sure, in lead up to this, there were 4 videos. Firstly, on documentation, communication, then the cost versus the charging, and finally, your expense versus the investment. So, in keeping in line with the same as a culminating factor to all those things, I will be actually delivering my presentation today. So, let me just share my screen so that it is, say, we can start with the presentation after that. So I hope my screen is visible. Dr. Zainab, please give me a go ahead if it is there.
Yes, it is visible, sir.
I can see myself on the screen. So if the screen is visible and the audio is clear, please let me know in the
Yes, sir.
comment section. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, friends, as I said, today's topic is Pronto Costing Showcase, the ROI analysis, return over investment, and how it leads to profitability in dentistry. So, if you are there with me right at the start, I would request you to stay with me till the end. Of course, there are so many exciting things to come up. But yes, if you do not, you can say, if you blink and miss, you might miss something very vital. So let me just give you a bit of introduction before I begin. So all my presentations always start with thanking the Lord Almighty has given me much more than what I deserve. And when it comes to a combo of practice management and finance, of course, the numbers, I have to thank my dad as well, who was instrumental in teaching me the clinical part of finance, what I'm sharing with you all guys. So this is my brief biodata. Dr. Zana wonderfully laid it out in front of you. So, courtesy a few of these, I'm able to understand economics a little bit better than all other colleagues. So today's topic is the same as I mentioned, the ROI analysis of a direct restorative appointment. So as I said, I'll be weaving a story. I'll be giving you a few reasons where I'll be sharing with you vital points that why do we look at just the cost of the material. For example, an XYZ syringe is available, or composite syringe, I mean, available for 2000, for 3000, for 4000. We just compare, oh my God, 4000 syringe is so costly. How can we actually buy it? I'm getting it for half the price. And trust me, I am going to shatter all your myths today. What exactly is the contribution of the composite, what exactly is your GPM, what exactly is your NPM, and what exactly are the total percentages which actually make a difference if you use an expensive material or a comparatively less expensive. I won't call it a cheap. Yes, of course the Chinese material can be there in that category, but I'm not going to go that deep. I'm just going to call it expensive or less expensive. But what exactly difference does it make? I'm going to give you the whole number. So I would request you to keep your pen, pad, paper, and of course a calculator ready with you. In case you don't get along with a few numbers, you can actually ask me why and where. And yes, in this presentation, I've taken the help of my three group members. We did this ROI analysis of various treatments: root canal, crowns, dentures, of course restorations as well. So I picked up three colleagues presentation along with adding my inputs as well. Dr. Parul Agarwal from Panchkula, Haryana, Dr. Divya Puranik from Bengaluru, Karnataka, and Dr. Madhvi Thakur from Penn, Maharashtra. So they have been instrumental in me sharing the data with me. And of course, as we will see in the various calculations done, how does a treatment of an average or a standard dental clinic will differ. So let's get along to the topic without much delay. So before I jump on to the treatment, you must have gone through the four small videos of 8-9 minutes each. I told you about the costs, and the problem is that we just look at the direct cost. We just look at the cost of the material. We just look at, you can say, if we are doing the crowns, we just look at the crowns part, sorry, the lab cost. So we just don't look at the other tangible factors or non-tangible factors, or you can say intangible factors. So profitability is not actually a relationship of just more money in your pocket. It is the relationship between your income and your expense. And trust me, we don't know the hidden costs, so which actually leak our profit bucket. So I'll not waste much time. I'll straight away come to the cost head breakdown of a restoration. What we actually look at it. A few of these aspects I discussed in my short video, but yes, a few aspects I'll be discussing in the coming slides. So as we calculate the breakup of a restoration, we always see the direct cost first. So what can be the direct cost? Of course, the cost of the materials, direct cost of the materials being used, cost of your chair side time, your assistant as well, cost of your skills, cost of your rubber dam sheet or a portion of your kit if it is subject to breakage, of course, cost of the bottled water. And I just hope that you don't use the normal filtered water. Uh, you use the separate bottled water available for that. So, what are the indirect costs involved in this? Cost of your handpiece bearing, cost of your AC, lights, fan, obviously as a portion of your contribution to your electricity bill for that particular procedure for particular hour, if I say so. Cost of your assistant, more so if you are doing a six-handed dentistry. Then the most common cost, which we are not aware, the wear down value, WDV, or the depreciation as we call them. And of course, if you're using the light curve on the bulb, the LED bulb, or similarly the, you can say, the wear down value of the light cure part. Then there are some semi-variable costs as well. The cost of your suction running, which will require a servicing after some time, cost of your chair bulb light, cost of your maintenance, cost of instruments, cost of instruments bought for composite, again, the sterilization of those instruments. So then COVID-19 brought us to in face with a few things. Yes, our costing was increased. So even if colleagues are charging the same what they were charging pre-COVID, trust me, these six or at least a few of these, whichever you have added in your inventory, in your clinic, are going to burn a big hole into your profits. The cost of sanitizers, which are a must in almost every public place now, cost of the PPE kit, if you are using, cost of the scrubs or overall, which if somebody is not using a PPE, he's using the scrubs and overall, every one of us. Cost of the patient drapes, which were usually non-disposable ones, now have changed to the disposable ones. Again, adding to the overall cost. Then a few places still use cost of, you can say, the shoe cover or any other accessories that are there. But yes, last year we were prescribed too long a list, and out of that, if you have bought a few, the HEPA filters, the external suction defogger, or the UV chamber, or the UV lights, anything of that sort, and maybe if it is lying in the corner of your clinic being unused, or a few of them being used and not all of them being used, trust me, they're still, you can say, their value is still going down in the form of depreciation. So that is also an added factor. So roughly I am giving you 21 costs. So I told you about the 26 costs. Let me give you a few more: the cost of the expiry of the materials, the cost of storage, the cost of pilferage they are subject to, the cost of their shelf life, which is different from storage, of course, and cost of obsolescence or deterioration, which is different from expiry because of temperature variations, which materials deteriorate, or you can say are not in a workable condition. So that is known as the cost of obsolescence. So you need to remember that if you just look at one cost, direct material, the cost of this syringe is this much. Trust me, there are 25 other costs. So overheads are going to always eat up into your profit. And how much is the contribution of each composite syringe to the total treatment? I'll be giving you that also, based on not one, but class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4, for all the 4 restorations. And you might feel those calculations a bit daunting, but many of you, I believe, have already gone in through my GPM NPM calculations available on my YouTube channel. And if you have, trust me, these are going to further modify those things. So this is not exactly the same presentation. It is a modified version of that, where I'll be going further deep into the restorative analysis. Yes, GPM NPM, certain things are available over there. We discussed for various other treatments, as I told you, the RCT, the crowns, the dentures, the flexi dentures, and many more. But yes, this is, we are just pertaining or restricting ourselves to the restorative part. So if we can better control our fee that we charge and costs that are incurred to us, trust me, we will be at a better place. Better place mentally, that yes, we are carrying home good. And if we are looking at the cost factor of the material only, let me just blow away your myths a bit. So before I go on to cost part or the depth of that, you need to first understand the GPM and the NPM. What exactly is the GPM? So GPM is the gross profit margin and NPM is the net profit margin. Trust me, GPM formula is the standard formula which is available all over the world. In all the industries, the same formula is used. But the net profit margin is the formula devised by me only. You won't find it anywhere on the net. It is my own original formula devised in the second lockdown of COVID 19 in year 2021. March, April, May, this was designed. So, what I believe the cutoff point, the ideal GPM should be 60 and NPM should be close to minimum 50. If your practice is below that number, then that means for every 100 rupee earned, you are not even carrying home 50 rupees, which is not a good sign. You need to understand those parts very clearly. So if you are not really sure that how profitable your practice is, you need to be aware of your numbers. You may need to make all those calculations. So I'll give you first the GPM formula. As I said, that is the formula prevalent all over the world, standardized formula, and it is usually an underutilized tool. Many can use the same, you can say, profit margin to improve the practice profitability. So if I ask you what are your restoration, what are your filling margins, obviously I'm not talking about the bevel or the chamfer. I'll be asking about your profit margins, not exactly your restoration margins. So before you know how much you charge or how much you should charge or how much you can charge, you should know how much it actually costs you. So the classical formula for the GPM is revenue minus cost divided by revenue into 100. That is known as your GPM. And what is the cost in this? Only the direct cost. So what is the direct cost for us? The prime cost, the materials and the labor. Yes, of course, the hidden expenses, the other costs which I gave you in abundance just at the start, uh, they will be taken up, but in the indirect part. How much portion that is to be taken, that also I'll be divulging you. As I said at the start, I'll be weaving a story, and if you are there with me since the start, please stay till the end. You will be in for not one but multiple shocks. So, if and those will be for good only, because unless you know the disease, unless you know the diagnosis, you can't actually cure the problem. So that is what our line also, you can say, believes in. So let us get on to the GPM first. As I said, I did with the three of my WhatsApp group members. They calculated the same. I guided them, yes, whatever I could, but it was their wit and wisdom in that. Yes, a little bit of exaggeration here and there since they were doing it for the first time. Yes, I did modify those correction, you can say, those numbers a bit to come at an actual number. But let's see how they differ and what they have in store for us. So the first, you can say, what is to be considered in this GPM. I'll be first giving you the GPM of everything, then tell you how to calculate the NPM, how do we take the indirect cost or the hidden cost, those 25 out of those 26. If you are taking 3 or 4 into the direct cost, you need to understand that your other 20 costs also need to be taken into account. And what is the reason, or how, what is the system that you can calculate it, I'll be letting you know. So we'll be focusing only on the individual procedures, just to, you can say, this is the procedure which you don't need to do again and again. Just calculate it once, and more or less you know it, that the next time, with a little variation here and there, your costing is going to remain the same. So the first thing is, how much do you actually time do you need? Uh, do you take to actually do a restoration? For example, a class 2 will take about sometimes 1 hour to prepare, isolate, restore, and polish. But maybe for the class 1, it may be half an hour. Of course, I'm taking the standardized conditions into account using the rubber dam. Of course. So, for example, your assistant is having 10,000 per month salary for, you can say, for a 8 or 9 hour, approximately 42 per hour will be the cost. So, if we have a 1.5 hour job, the direct cost would be 63 rupees. Just to give you a bit of idea, how do we arrive at these calculations? 10,000 divided by 30 divided by 8 or 9, whatever number of hours, we divided by 8 or maybe 9, I guess. So we arrived at this number, just rounding it off for the, you can say, ease of calculation. So don't, you can say, we don't need to start counting the cotton rolls of the suction charges in this. I believe that only bigger cost, anything above more than 10, should be taken. And we would be taking the things for SDC and ADC, a standard dental clinic and an average dental clinic. Of course, again, the hi-fi dental clinic or the downtrodden dental clinic, I'm not using those terminologies. I'm using the SDC and the ADC only. Yes, my colleagues did count these small expenses. A couple of them did count that, but then those are ignorable if we looked at. So that is the first class 1 LCF that my group member Dr. Parul from Panchkula did. Uh, the total composite syringe cost, what is the composite filling, approximate filling cost, universal bond cost, approximately cost per bond, applicator tip, suction tip, cottonals, of course. She counted the minor ones also, but yes, never mind. I did not ignore that. I just rounded it off. Wedge, metric system, etchant, finishing and polishing kit, rubber dam sheet, light cover unit, gloves, mask, miscellaneous. So approximate costing on her part was 300 rupees and probably 50 paisa for that rounded off figure. And she added a few other things as well: the assistant salary, the direct cost, electricity per hour. For the electricity, the bill taken was 10,000 for 2 months for 9 hours each day. We arrived at a figure of 23 per hour to arrive at a direct calculation. So the total calculation for a restoration came out to, adding all 300 plus 25 plus 23, 348.50. So she was charging, for example, she took a sample in this, that she was charging, for example, 800 rupees in this. So 800 minus 348.5, she arrived at a GPM of 56.44%. A slightly less than advantage, you can say ideal figure, but how does it affect the NPM? We'll keep this into account. Even for an average dental clinic, we took the assistant salary not at 10,000 but at 6,000. So we arrived at an, you can say, hourly, you can say price of rupees 25 per hour. So yes, you don't need to remember this number because this slide will come up again when we come to the NPM calculation. So just see 56.54, the credit goes to Dr. Parul, Panchkula, Haryana. So then it was a class 3 LCF done by Dr. Madhavi Thakur. He calculated the anesthetic cost using a cartridge, hemostatic gel, retraction cord, rubber dam, matrices and miscellaneous mock-up, putty index, composite cost, cavity disinfection, finishing and polishing, assistant's cost. So her costing came out to rupees 670. So the GPM in this case was she was charging 1500, for example. So 1500 minus 670 divided by 1500, 830 by 1500. So again, slightly less than advantageous or slightly less than ideal GPM, but 55.33. Don't need to remember this number. This number, as I said, will come up again. So she did it for class 4 as well. The only difference was, as I said in my third video, the Itusa composite or Thodusa composite. So that 100 changed to 140 and the 670 figure changed to 710. The rest, all the things were almost similar or constant for a class 3 or class 4. So yes, she was charging not 1500 but 2000 for that. And of course, the costing increased, but the charging increased drastically. So her GPM increased from 55 to 64.5%. Credit of calculation, Dr. Madhavi Thakur, Pen, Maharashtra. So then the fourth calculation for a class 2 LCF done by Dr. Divya Puranik from Bengaluru, Karnataka. So burrs, miscellaneous plus sandwich technique usually needed. The GIC can add the cost. One sitting assistant time 1 hour, wedges, per matrices, universal primer, composite cost, HN, polishing, finishing. Her figure was similar to Dr. Madhavi. 670 was there for her class 3. So her figure is close to 654. So what is the GPM? More than ideal, of course, 67.3. Credit Dr. Divya Puranik, Bengaluru, Karnataka. So this is the figure she has arrived. All of them have arrived at. So if you can see, the figures are in the range of 50.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
Hello,
of course.
everyone. There must be some technical issue. We'll back in a moment.
छाया आसमां देखो झूमता गगन I got it. I got it.
I'm there?
Yes, yes, perfect.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen again.
Yes, got it.
Okay.
Yes,
So,
yes.
okay. So, sorry guys, I was disconnected for a while. So, I hope you got the numbers over here. But the one thing that I wanted to tell you all, am I visible and audible? Dr. Zainab, am I visible
Yes,
and
sir. You
audible
are
to you?
visible and you are audible. You can go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. So as I said, all the GPM calculations range from 55 to 67 in this case. But is that the end of the story? I'm not really sure that that is the end of the story. As long as we just look at the GPM, we are going to ignore other costs. And that is where the biggest mistake at our end. And trust me, these are things that are going to make a huge difference in the overall calculation. If we just look at the GPM part, we are ignoring the NPM. And surely NPM is the most important thing, because NPM decides actually what we are back home. So what you can decipher from the GPM presentation so far is that if you your charges, for example, as we showed in the class 3 to class 4, the input increased by 40 rupees for the doc, but the total revenue increased 500 rupees. What did that do? It increased the GPM from 57 to 67 or 56 to 67. But then that is not always simple. You need to understand that if you increase your charges by big margin, you have to add and give value to your audience as well. Otherwise, why would the patient pay you for your costing, or you can say for the enhanced charges? So if you can't immediately add the value, then you will have to lower your cost, and lower of GP, lower of the profit. So somewhere you have to resort to cost cutting. The balance has to be maintained. If you increase your charges, you have to provide a better thing. Remember this till the end. If you increase your charges, you have to increase or add the value for your patient. That is the only way to actually survive in this industry in today's time. So if you have seen the direct cost by now, you can see it must have set your thinking buds alight. So is this all, or is there more to it? So let us see yet further, because GPM is not the only thing. NPM is still to come, and picture abhi baki hai mere dost. So NPM tells you to the exact cost needed for your practice, because that is the reason you know where you are starting from. That includes all your individual costs and not your general expense. So how much is once actually going to cost you on an average? Of course, as I said, you are not going to do these things again and again. Those you need to check it out whether the same is worth it or not. So then the best way is you can minimize overheads, minimize your other costs. It again may seem like a no-brainer to you, but then that is the best way to come at a solution. If we ignore certain aspects of our, you can say, clinic, then we are not actually calculating those things into our account. So we should know all our overhead categories, and if we are not aware of them, that is where it comes. So let me give you the system to calculate the indirect cost. So this is just a breakup of one of my articles where you can say the gross overhead cost. The staff contributes roughly, you can say 15% on it. The lab cost 10%, the materials 5%. So these would be the direct cost directly, which are 30%. So then the cost, depreciation, marketing, otherwise personal improvement, all these things contribute a combined 20%. But what I believe, the staff exactly is not contributing to the direct cost. Don't work for the full 8 or 9 hours chair side. They do other ancillary jobs. So a portion of this has to be contributed to these costs as well. It is not their total time that is being utilized in the chair side. So let's see. As I read this figure, the number 5 to 7 headings may vary, but the amount usually remains the same, 20%, of course, approximately close to that. So we have taken the total range of, you can say, has been taken at 2 lakh over here. If it is 50% of the costing, then your carry home is 1 lakh in that regard. So each of these categories will represent a different overhead, different kinds of expense. But for example, the lab costs are the direct cost, the chairside assistant is another cost. So there is another way of calculating it, way of doing it via percentage wise. I'll do another way also by your balance sheet. This is the account balance sheet where you put in your professional income on one side and expenditure on one side. You arrive at a figure, at a number, which tells you percentage or how much in rupees were your expenses. So there are just two ways: either make a percentage wise load from the first chart, or do it in the amount basis and then arrive at a percentage. So it is perfectly all right whichever way you do. The first where I given a percentage wise breakup, that is the standardized universal accepted formula. So I'm coming to that again. 15, 10, 5 in the first three, these are the direct costs, and the next 20, 4 to 7 hence may vary. That is, you can say the uh, content may vary, but the overall contribution to overheads remains usually 50%. If we take the normal, you can say the government also tax 50% of our expenses on an average. So what exactly is that? Staff, lab and materials make up for 30%. Let's go back. 15, 10 and 5. Staff, lab and material. These are the direct costs. Any case, these make up 30%. So this number is unique, but I believe word of the staff, which is staff is 15. One third of this is 5%. So one third of the staff is to be deducted, because always the staff, you don't always keep the assistant with you. The staff does the maintenance activities, other ancillary, other administrative activities, which are sometimes not counted in the GPM. But we are paying them for that time too. So deducted from here, that means, and added into the other hidden costs. Because in the direct portion, we are taking only the time which they are utilizing on the chair. One third added there. What does that result? It results in this figure becoming 25%, and this figure also becoming 25%. 50-50. You can say your direct also 50, your indirect also 50. So at, you can say 10% of staff at 25, and you will arrive at a figure. Both of them will be 25, 25 direct and indirect. So this is just one way of doing it. The other way, amount wise, which might seem a lot easier to you if you're not believing in the percentage wise, this is your actual number. So the basic record keeping for that. If you're doing that, obviously by the law that is mandatory. But let's presume that your expenses on an average again are between 40 to maybe the average at 50% again. Take out your yearly figure of expenses, separate out your lab, assistant and materials separately. Again, I'll show you the balance sheet, the demo balance sheet that I have. Separate out your medicine, dental items, materials, lab charges, and your, you can say, assistant from it. These are your direct costs. So these figures are, you can say, the overall costing is roundabout in the range of 60%. The total costing is 4.02 lakhs. The total figure of income is 6.75, which is roughly 60%. So again, I will presume don't take the balance sheet which your CA makes, take out your income, because that is going to throw a light, because we all are fond of showing one thing, earning one thing. So I believe actually do the justice to whatever calculation you're going to make. So the lab bill from that figure, 42%, and the medicine items and other things, if you add assistants, 1/3 is to be deducted over there. You add the figure and you see the direct expenses are roughly 2/3 in this demo balance sheet. That means expenses of this doctor in this balance sheet are 1/3 or close to 33%. In the percentage wise, it was close to 50%. What does that mean? It means that your indirect would be roughly 1/3. That means you have to take those into consideration as well for your NPM. So there are some things, like if you add your gloves and cotton rolls in GPM, do not add them in your NPM. So remember, you can call the NPM as PM also, the profit margin as they will say. So the percentage should be very clear to you. So that means if you're following the percentage wise chart, your similar amount would be your indirect. If you're following the balance sheet kind of a thing, in this case, what I'm doing, 1/3, or sorry, the 2/3 would be the 1/3 would be the indirect expenses. So you have to calculate those accordingly. This is the way you arrive at that number. The bottom line is it can be anywhere between 33 to 50. I'll, for the ease of calculation, show you 1/3 also and show you 50% also. We'll shall try to attempt both and show you the active numbers. How does the NPM eat into your profit? Let's get on to the NPM, and I'm really going to shock you with the numbers now in the coming slide. But the real shock is when you try to understand what is the contribution of the cost of composite to the total thing. Same slide, the class 1 LCF by Dr. Parul, 300.5 was the figure, it went down to 348.5. So we arrived at a GPM of 6.44. As I said, not a very ideal figure, but this is the GPM. What is the NPM? If we go by the first mode, the similar amount would be your indirect cost. So that means your costing goes up 697. So if she is charging 800 minus 697, her NPM is 12%. That means for every 100 rupee charged from the patient for a restoration, she is carrying 12.8 rupees or 13 rupees only. But if we do go by the indirect way, you can say the balance sheet way, the total costing is 348 point plus 232, 2/3 of that. So 581 rupees. Again, this also does not give a very, very healthy figure. It is a 27.37 figure. Double than that, but still overall 1/4. For every 1 rupee earned, she is carrying 25 paisa home. A minimum NPM should be 50%, as I said. So an NPM of 12.875 or 27, whatever percentage, both are not very good numbers. But what was the composite cost taken in this? I am doing that simultaneously. Let's go back. The cost of composite taken was 80, the bonding and the etching was 80 plus 15, 95. We arrive at that figure, just check. 80 was the composite cost, 80 plus 50, 95 was the additional for bonding and etching. So for the class 3 by Dr. Madhavi Thakur, you know this number of 670. Just look at the composite cost, 100, etching bonding another 100. Fine, just remember these two figures. So her GPM was 5. Now if we add via the NPM, a similar cost in this, so her GPM, the NPM comes to 10%, 10.67. But if by 1/3 mode, 25.53. Again, both not very good figures, but yes, you have to see, even if the NPM is she's carrying home 10 rupees, out of every 100. What was the composite cost? 100 rupees. Bonding, 100 rupees. Remember this. Now for the class 4 LCF, in which we know the composite cost was changed from 100 to 140. The bonding cost remained the same. Yes, the charging differed. The Itusa composite we added a little bit, of course, little bit, as I said, a few things would be exaggerated here and there, but the GPM was 64.5. What is the NPM now? NPM going by the similar thing would be 29%, even with the higher charges. So with the 1/3 system, it will be 40.8. Not very great, but still a close to decent number. But then what is the bottom line? NPM 29 or 41? What is the composite cost in this? 140 rupees or 100 rupees for additional for bonding etching. Let's go ahead with the Dr. Divya's you can say calculation for a class 2 LCF. Number was 654. The HN cost 16. Composite cost 86. The primer cost 94. Just remember these numbers. So the GPM was 67.3, a very healthy one. But an NPM comes out to 34.6 with the same direct cost, and with the 1/3 indirect as well, you can say 45.5% in that regard. So even if the NPM of 34 or 45, what is the composite cost? 86, and the bonding and the etching cost is 110 in this. So that is the real thing. If you are not carrying home even 30 or 40 rupees of every 100 rupees charged, are you really making a profit? You are not. Are you surprised? All this while we thought of one aspect, composite sasta hona chahiye. Is it really? Let us see what is the total contribution. The GPM was the first shock to you, probably partially. The NPM has maybe come as a bigger shock. Even bigger shock is coming up now. Let me show you a few things. What was the cost? That is why I showed you the number. 697 rupees 80 was the contribution of composite, which is 11.4%. In 1340, total costing means direct and indirect. Rupees 100 was the composite cost, 7.46. 140 in the total cost of 1420, 9.86. And rupees 86 in the total cost of 1308, 6.57. Just take out the average of this, close to 9%, 8.82. Average cost of composite out of all these is, out of the case studies that we have taken, is close to 100 rupees. So let's be composite costs you 100 rupees per filling. Just the composite, not any other thing. So if your bonding contribution, I gave you the bonding 95 in 697, 100 in 1340, 100 in 1420, 1308. So let's presume that this is also close to average 100 rupees. Let me tell you or give you this scenario very, very clearly, or ask you one thing. If you were to do 20 composites, what is the costing going to be at your end? You would say, sir, you said 100 rupees is the costing. 20 for composite. Then what is the bonding cost average? We found that also close to 100. So for 20 filling, that is also 2000. The total costing, etching, bonding, composite, nothing else. All the other things would still remain the constant. This is about the material thing. You are buying this thing. The rest of the things, the direct cost of other things, assistant, your wedges, your injection, those things are the same. Your indirect cost, your overheads, your expenses also are going to be the same. So this is the thing we worry. What is the cost for your 20 fillings? 2000, 2000. That makes it 4000 rupees. Now just pay attention to this further. If I say take a brand P composite at rupees
Hello, sir. Your voice got interrupted again.
For 20 restorations with a brand P composite, 3400 plus 1000, 4400. Remember, all the other few direct and the indirect costs remain the same. Now, what is the difference? Technically, you can say, sir, my composite was 100 rupees. You gave me composite at 170 rupees. But guys, you're paying just 400 rupees extra. Let me just go back. What was your budget for 20 composites? 100 at composite for 2000, 100 at bonding for 2000. Total was 4000. With my material, brand P, it was 3400 plus 1000, 4400. So, what exactly are you paying? You're paying 400 rupees extra. Technically, 20 rupees per filling more. Just the cost of one Bisleri water, one rail neer, one, you can say, whatever brand of bottled water you are using. But yes, the composite initially might be 170, but that has been compensated by a great deal by the free etchant and bond along with for 10 restorations. So practically 400 extra for 20 restoration means you're paying just 20 rupees per restoration more. So does a expensive composite matter? You will say, sir, you can give that excuse for every composite that this is expensive. It is just going to cost you 20 more, 30 more. These 20 and 30 will ultimately eat up big time into our restoration. But yes, what are you getting in that? Let me come to that. The topic for today: Pulp Dents material, M&M's material, Activa Pronto. It is a universal stackable composite and it is a live material. It is an active material. It is not a dead material. It is the nature's magic. How does it work? Let us see. Traditionally, in the 21st century, we all know that the composites are very technique sensitive, hydrophobic, they repel water, they are inert, passive. Actually, you can say they do no harm if you maintain proper isolation. But 21st century is the time to be smart. The gadgets are getting smart. Unfortunately, we humans are getting dumber. But yes, technology is getting smarter. This is a moisture friendly resin. No bisgamma, no bisphenol A, no BPA derivatives. It is a rubberized urethane, which is a hydrophilic resin which adapts intimately to the tooth structure. And trust me, this hydrophilic resin mixes with water, and then the real potential is unleashed. A drop of moisture, you can say moisture friendly resin, is placed. You can place a water, and the resin mixes with water. It is exactly a hydrophilic one, and that is where its actual, you can say, benefit is unleashed. It is a patented rubberized resin molecule, you can say, and this resin is actually basically eliminates the brittleness out of the composites and makes it tough and fracture resistant. And there is a whole lot of studies being done. That is the reason this is a patented molecule. And yes, I can go on with the chemistry part, but then yes, this is a topic for some other day, maybe for other KOLs of the company. For all that reason, for that I'm going to give you the economic portion only, that what is going to cost you. It is going to cost you in the long run 20 rupees extra only per restoration. And you can say it is going to be a game changer as it is bioactive. It you can say it is a rubberized resin which it supports the epithet formation and is obviously favorable for the remineralization process. So the magic is in the hydrophilic component. So it actually responds to pH changes and releases more ionic content during the low pH environment or the acidic environment in the mouth. And as I said, 21st century or this millennium is all about things in gadgets and technology getting smart. It's time that we also become smart as well with the combination of dentonomics along with it, so that this smart material actually replaces many of our materials which are inert and dead materials otherwise. So Activa Pronto, this is the combination that you get in 3,400 rupees, two you can say 2.2 gram syringes, plus of course an H&N bond. These two on an average will last you 18 to 22 cases, average taken as 20, that is the reason. And the H&N bond will last you 50% of that, average 10 cases. So this is the way I arrived at this calculation. But what are the features which actually, you can say, other features which actually separate it from the other features? It is dynamic, mineral enriched. Of course, aesthetics comes, you can say, but natural with it. The beauty is that it can be used in geriatric patient also. I'll show you in the upcoming slide how. It is stackable, shapeable. It does not just pull back. Of course, because of its more strength part, it is fracture resistant. And of course, it is meant for class 1 to class 5, all kinds of restorations. Hydrophilic it is. And of course, if it recharges calcium phosphate and fluoride, it is an ideal thing for pediatric also, not only geriatric but pediatric also. So as I said, rubberized urethane, no bisgamma, no bisphenol, no BPA. The beautiful part is it comes in BW, bleach white, youngsters shade. It comes in A4, A6 shades as well. Trust me, we are actually searching for these kind of shades in certain of our geriatric patients, where even the A4 shade seems the whitest shade. And you can say these are the cervical shades which are a lot useful. And I'm really thankful to you can say M&M for bringing out a A6 shade in this regard. So how, where are the dentists actually supposed to use Activa Pronto? It is a in high risk caries patient, which delivers essential minerals. Of course, conservative cavity preps, that is a no brainer. Class 1, 2, 3, even you can say class 2 load bearing areas, cervical areas where there is difficult to maintain complete isolation, posterior maxillary cases where there is viscosity, you can say it will prevent a run out or the flow out of the material. And of course, meant for pediatric to geriatric, as I said. So I'll show you a few cases by the company KOLs in different countries, and of course by a few couple by Indian counterparts as well. So this is a case by Dr. Delphine Berquero, class 2 repair using Activa Pronto A2 shade. If you can really appreciate the, you can say, structure of the cavity post restoration from hair to hair, it is a phenomenal result as such. So again, it is a stackable for any kind of A3. It gives you virtually a good interproximal placement. A case by Dr. Robert Echo. So again, for your convenience, I'm sharing it over here. Then our own, very own Dr. Preeti Lamba, the aesthetic solution for class 5 challenges, active Pronto A2, just making it easy in those cases where sometimes you can say moisture is also the reason, and also maintaining, you can say, complete isolation is sometimes difficult. Of course, if it is a geriatric patient, a good shade match would be very good in such a case. So shade matching and blending with the A6 on buccal and A3.5 on mesial, case by Dr. Lou Graham, also done over there. Then another case by Dr. Lowe for geriatric aesthetic challenges. Can you find a A6 shade used for this cervical repair? Which is the tooth where A6 has been used? It is very, very hard to distinguish just for the cervical repair, not the whole body. Of course, you can say that this is the shade. No, it's not, because this is the full body build up. So there has to be something out of these three. So keep guessing. So then one of the important indications, as I said, is pediatric dentistry also. Since it is a mineral enriched formula, it delivers calcium, phosphate, and fluoride to support healthy teeth. And of course, children are at high risk courtesy their frequent sugar exposures. So it becomes a must in pediatric dentistry. So as it contains modified calcium phosphate, a patented molecule, and of course that is soluble in monomers and attracted to tooth calcium and you can say strengthens the appetite structure. So again, the hydrophilic thing maintains the diffusion of the essential minerals, and nucleation sites for appetite formation are created. So it does not contain glass ionomer or bioglass, but yes, a modified calcium phosphate component in this. So what is the standard? For us, the truth is the standard. Aesthetic, moisture friendly, high strength, releases calcium phosphate, shock absorbent. Yes, 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 yes. Conventional composites are hydrophobic. They will not be releasing any calcium or phosphate. They are, you can say, prone to shock, and you can say, upon shock, they can actually, the filling might be dislodged. That is a, you can say, disadvantage, but not anymore. But if the question is that if you're getting all these, or maybe these three no's are converted into yes, just at an extra cost of rupees 20 per restoration, will you still think about the total cost? I believe I don't need to even give you an answer for this. So, who are the mentors in India? Dr. Nikhil Bahuguna, Dr. Preeti Lamba, Dr. Prateek Gupta, and of course, my favorite, Dr. Rumpa Vik. So, these are the four people. These are very well reputed names in India, aesthetic masters in India. You don't trust my numbers, they are the ones to go to. If you don't trust these four either, of course, there is no reason you should not. But let's for a minute presume that you don't trust these four. Then there was a Pronto challenge. One, which was on the FB group last month. And of course, challenge two is on right now, which I think is has just ended or is just about to end. Exactly. So where is it being held? It's being held on the DR Pronto Aesthetic Challenge FB page, FB group, sorry. So 415 members are there already doing cases, sharing cases. If you don't trust me, if you don't trust the foreign mentors, if you don't trust the Indian mentors, you can trust these 13 guys. Challenge 1 winners, popular choice plus jury special. A few of my favorites in that list: Dr. Arun Kumar. I do regular workshops with him in Bengaluru. Dr. Deepti, Dr. Alpa, Dr. Sonal, Dr. Jimit, Dr. Ridyumana, Dr. Aarti, again one of my favorite, Dr. Baiju, one of again my group members since many years now. Then Dr. Kirti. Then Dr. Roxanne also released Insta Reel contest winners, Dr. Kanupriya, Dr. Hima, Dr. Shreya, Dr. Sanjali. So many good cases being shared on the group. See it yourself. And what does it come at? It doesn't come at. Challenge 2 is about to end or just ended. If you don't believe me, if you don't believe the company, me, the mentors, the international ones and the Indian ones, or the prize winners, or so many participants, then what is the solution? Let's for a minute presume that you don't believe any of them. What is the solution then? The only solution is try it yourself to believe it. How? Obviously, not by buying. Ask Mrs. Mala. She'll be gracious enough to send across samples for you to try. But the only condition is that you will have to post a case in the FB group. Otherwise, you can't request a sample next time. And this is her contact. You can take a snapshot of this. You can get in touch with her. These are her numbers. These are her emails, website, Insta handle, Facebook Live. Wherever you can get in touch with her, she'll send you the material. The only condition, you have to share your case. And trust me, so many beautiful cases are being shared already. Challenge 3 is about to begin in a few days now. So if you have missed challenge 1, challenge 2, even the today's contest of Dentonomics, challenge 3 is coming up for you. But then we started from ROI analysis. I took you to the realms of costing, then to the GPM, then to the NPM, and then to actually comparing of the cost of the two numbers. Of course, before giving you the difference of rupees 20, what are you getting in that 20 rupees bargain difference per restoration? Let's come to that. I know you are more worried about your GPM and NPM numbers than anything else right now. But yes, now that you have seen GPM and NPM, you know that there are operating costs, indirect costs that are actually eating up into our profits. And
So,
colleague, yeah, yeah. Roxanne, did you say anything?
so there is one slide that was missed by the audience, that is Pronto cost, since you're talking about ROI analysis now.
Okay. Pronto cost.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This Pronto cost.
Pronto costing, actually, I told them this only. There was no slide as such. I
Okay, sir.
just told that these are available at 3,400 for two syringes, plus the for almost 20 fillings, and the etchant and the bond for 10, you can say for 10 fillings. So that was the difference I gave actually in that. That was a verbal thing. I did not actually put up a slide for that. Okay, so let me just move on with the thing that we all actually, you can say, uh, charge a low price in the practice. And then we curse dentistry that dentistry is not giving us returns. We should change the profession. Yes, on the funnier side, there are groups like Memodontics, where actually you can say on the in the lighter vein people start off. But yes, there are quite a few who are offended by that also, and quite a few who are actually getting, you can say, uh, into that zone where the pain point is there whenever dentistry in that regard, price regard is discussed. But then if you can't charge more, either your skills are lacking or the confidence factor. The problem, it is not a problem. It is the good part that both of them can be upgraded. So what you can decipher from all these NPM is that you can't compare your cost with your neighbors. Your costs are unique. They are applicable to you only. And I always say know your numbers. Even if you have chosen fine, or you can say medical in 10 plus 1 and 10 plus 2 just because you hated maths. Trust me, Dr. Bhavdeep is here to haunt you again with the finance and numbers. So there is just, you can say, one aspect we need to know. We should know our own costing. We should know our own numbers. And trust me, there is more to dentistry than just the direct cost. That may be one or two out of that 20 list of 26, as you might have seen by now. And they actually eat up into our profit. NPM is actually the number that you're carrying home. So if your NPM is 12, 13, 15, 25, as we saw in those calculations, trust me, for every 100 rupees, for every 1 lakh rupees earned, you are actually carrying home 12,000 or 25,000 rupees only. So you really need to, but again, as I said, raising the charges is not the answer. Along with that, giving the value is. So if you are using expensive material like active, on the face of it, as it appears, I get a normal composite syringe for 1200, 1500, and this is available for me for 3400. Of course, you get two syringes, you get etchant and bond, of course, and of course, you need to remember that this is a value addition in terms of so many factors. And if that is going to be there in such part, how are you going to compare? There is no way. If you're giving value addition, then you can obviously charge more. If you're charging already 2000 just to cover for your 70 rupees extra, you can charge 2070 or maybe 2100 to round it off, or maybe 2050, whatever it is your wish. But the thing is, you need to understand that only the direct cost does not need to look at it. It is ROI is all about increasing your efficiency as well. And more procedures you do in a single visit, they are more practical, and obviously it makes a great business sense also. COVID actually reiterated this formula or this situation, that whatever we are doing in our practice, we ought to finish more in one sitting, so that our chair side time for a particular procedure does not, the same things don't get used over again, and we do a longer procedure and cutting down on lot of other ancillary and indirect costs in the same visit. And you would be surprised that we needed a thing like a COVID to reiterate this situation. So many colleagues are already following this set protocol, including me. So the journey towards profitability is not about buying Chinese materials or cheaper materials. It is just about improving efficiency, and efficiency means increasing your GPM. And GPM can be increased by, you can say, value addition. Value addition can be by increasing your charges and giving more value to your patient. And of course, when you have these kind of, composite is a very technique sensitive procedure. You all know that a little bit of moisture, a little bit of gingival fluid, and the filling sometimes pops off. That is where materials like Pronto come in handy. Even if there is a slight moisture leakage, you can rest be assured the filling won't pop off. It is shock proof as well in that sense. So if you have to do that filling at a lesser cost with your material, and you have to repeat that free of cost because of inadvertent reasons, or pick up a fight with the patient that we told you no guarantees, no warranties, you have to pay that again for the same filling. He said, it's just 1 week, it's just 5 days, it's just 2 days that you did this, and you're about to charge me again. You also know that if the filling is popped up within 2, 5, or 7 days, it has been a bonding failure, which is predominantly your mistake most of the times. Most of the times. And if you either sacrifice losing your patient or sacrifice doing your GPM and NPM by doing the filling again, that is where your ROI of repeat thing is counted via such materials. So, what are the costs? You know them. What are the GPM and NPM? I think you know them. You should be a little bit worried if you have not done your calculations. I have my YouTube videos more about profitability in dentistry, more about costing, part 1 to 5. So, all those things are still there on the YouTube. You can watch those videos for other procedures as well, from crowns to root canals to dentures to cast partials to flexis. But there are lot many calculations done. So the only thing is, I'll still ask you, will you now dare to charge low? Just looking at the GPM, Ittusa composite has become the favorite line of so many of you in the Pronto group. I was reading the comments just today afternoon, forwarded by Mrs. Mala to me. I was really Thodusa composite and Ittusa composite. I'm really touched by your precious comments and compliments to me on that post. Thank you so much. So the summary is that you will never have full control over direct cost. Sometimes you have to bear them again. You can still manage a few indirect, surely, but take all into account, all of them into account. Never dare to charge low. Never ever do that, because GPM and net profit margin will have a big role in profitability. तो आई थिंक आज आप लोगों की रात की नींद मैंने खराब कर दी है. जप नाम एज आई ऑलवेज से इन दिस रिगार्ड, borrowed from the word MX Player web series Ashram. So what is the ROI concept? You're getting rupees 20 only extra per filling, technically, which is equal to 1 mineral water bottle. Still charge your patient 70 rupees or rounded off 100 rupees more. But again, that is not the answer. Even by charging more, if your GPM is close to 40 and NPM close to 12%, you make sure that that is healthy first. So that means you need to charge well or control your cost. Either way, if you don't control your cost, your profits are going to go down. But if the GPM NPM is less, then the whole system of charging needs to change at your end. Then composite cost का कोई लेना देना नहीं है with your profit. You are anyways carrying home less. So maybe 20 rupees or 50 rupees per filling less is not going to make a big difference overall. You're anyways carrying home 12% or 15% or 25% of every 100 rupees you have earned. So that is where you need to understand or reinforce that concept. So the ROI potential with Active Pronto does what? Gives you 5 benefits. It saves your effort, sometimes with perfect isolation, without perfect isolation, and good polishability. You'll achieve that. Obviously, you will save time by placement and isolation as well. But then lesser materials to isolate, lesser usage of gadgets or armamentarium, and you save on the cost. And yes, better repo, you can explain it to the patient that this is a live material, this is an active material, this is a not an inert material, and it is a release biomineralized material. It releases minerals, it releases active calcium phosphate. So it actually, you can say, if it is your practice goal, practice USP to align to give better service to your patients, it aligns the same with your goals as well. So summarizing all these in one line: ease of use, saves time, saves cost, builds your app and choice, of course, builds USP and core practice value. And of course, the bottom line that is the most important for me and for you should be increase profitability and increase referrals as well. So, better results is equal to better ROI. That is the bottom line for today. So, thank you so much for a patient hearing. Just a couple of announcements before I stop sharing my screen. So this is my YouTube channel link, youtube.com/seat/Dr. Bhavdeep. If you forget the link, just go to YouTube and search Dr. Bhavdeep Ahuja. There are close to 387 videos already on my channel. And it started It was revived on 1st June 2020. In 1.5 years almost, we are close to 400 videos already. Short, long, medical legal ethics, practice management, finance, motivation. All these four topics video are there. Usually I keep on posting a video daily on an average. You will find 4 videos coming in 4 days. Sometimes you'll find 10 videos coming in 2 days. So the average comes out to 1 video per day. Of course, 1.5 year for, you can say, 400 videos is a testimony to that itself. So this is my KYC. This is my email, my website. You can get in touch with me, of course, anytime. My social media presence is all by my name only, Dr. Bhavdeep, as my YouTube channel, same name, Dr. Bhavdeep, except my page, because my profile is by this name. So my page is by Dr. Bhavdeep Ahuja. Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, anywhere you can catch me with my, you can say, profile. One thing I always appreciate is the feedback. Please do send me your valuable feedback wherever you are, wherever you are watching. Please do send me the same on my cell number or on the page link where you are doing it. Bouquets and brickbats both would be welcome in equal measure from me. So thank you once again, and I stop my share for question time. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I think today's session was nothing short of Einstein knocking on our brains. I think the way you have explained the very critical parts of finance, which is why we do finance in the first place, is to get profitability. Your DPM explanation, your MPN explanation, the ROI explanation, doc, is far anything I have heard. Every time I hear you, there are light bulbs in my brain that take me back to my MBA days. I do not have the educational qualifications that you have, doc, but it takes me back to a very exciting time in my life where I felt this was very important for me to know, to understand, and carry on my personal expenses, my personal life, my business life. And listening to you simplifies these very, very complicated concepts that we take almost a year to understand in MBA school. You have done so simply. So a big, big thank you to you, Doc.
Thank you.
I have been personally following you for the last 2 years. I have attended your program. I'm part of your WhatsApp. I'm part of your YouTube. And the amount I have learned, I thought it is very important for our wonderful audience in this Pronto group to, taste knowledge with so much experience and insight from a dental point of view that I think is unmatched. Um,
Thank you.
thank you so very much, Doc.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really, really appreciate you taking the time, effort, and so uninhibitedly giving of yourself and the knowledge. You really do a big, big service to the dental industry. I'm so grateful to have you here today, and I'm sure on behalf of everybody in the group, it's a big thank you from all of us, Doc. Okay,
Thank you.
quickly, let's just go through a few questions.
Sure.
I would expect that since this is live, some of the people that have not attended it live would be reviewing it. So my sincere request to all viewers, now or and later, are we have limited time here, but we will be addressing all your questions on the comment section. Dr. Bhavdeep himself will be taking it up. So even if you've not really gone overboard doing it right now, the concepts may be something that you need to digest. Know that we are here for you, and you can post in your comments, post in your queries in the comment section, and all of them will be addressed. For now, we have just a few questions that I think will just take us back to a few slides that you have shown us, Doc. One is a lot of doctors today do face retreatment to be done in clinic, a little more light you could share on how we could go ahead you costing that in the cost sheet, or
The
putting
only
a
thing,
value on the cost sheet.
yeah, as I said, we did calculations of these in the month of May and June. I involved my paid group members at that time, and a few of them, like Dr. Sethi, he actually missed. He was willing to attend a gold session. I kept a session of gold on, I think, 24th of May. So he was so engrossed in that he actually missed the session. He said, "I was making calculations as you had guided, so I wanted to be the first one to send you." And
Yeah,
he made a very detailed one. Of course, I could not share those calculations here since
yeah,
this was pertaining to restoration only. But yes, there are so many costs that we actually ignore. And as I mentioned at the end of my presentation, that if you have to repeat those, all those costings come into play again. So if you're already not earning 50%, trust me, you're spending from your own pocket for a repeat procedure. So that is the reason your NPM should be close to minimum 50. That means the GPM has to be in the range of 70 to 80. But then that can only come if your costs are high, your charging has to be high as well. But if you have to really charge high, you have to give value. And value comes with good materials, good setup, good technology only. The problem is that we are upgrading in every other sphere of life. We are not using Nokia 3310 anymore. We are not using our CRT monitors. We are not using our old TVs. If we have upgraded in that regard, why are not we upgrading in the, you can say, dental technology? Still, you can see so many clinics using so many things which are, you can say, again, a debatable topic, silver. Uh, but I stopped silver in 2003. My placard in front of my chair reads, "Silver is history." Of course, no disrespect to Mr. Dr. G.V. Black. He should rest in peace, of course. But yes, there are times when we need to adapt to certain things. But the problem is that our structure and syllabi are still not upgraded as such. Still, a final year has to prepare a class 2 silver only before passing. So
yes.
that is where if the changes come in over there, the changes will come in actuality you can say in real life as well. The people need to remember the direct cost and the indirect cost. That is why I gave up. You can say I've told it verbally in that video of costing and charging, but here I showed up all of them, 26 of them, in actual detail. And there might be many more. And yes, I am 100% sure not all would be applicable to all, but at least 16 out of that 26 are applicable to one and all. Can be more, but not less than 16 to anyone. So please don't look at that only Itusa composite. Look at much more beyond that, which is actually eating up into your profit.
Yes. I think that is the conclusion. The
That is the
ITUSA
conclusion.
composite that you would look at as a thought process for retreatment is not ITUSA. You have to take the entire costing and
Entire
multiply
thing.
it all over again to do a retreatment. And
Absolutely.
definitely it will either bring down your profitability or it will put you in the negative. So to answer the doctor's question is you will have to take the entire costing and multiply it simply all over again, and you cannot just restrict it to a small bit of composite that you will add on because you have to do a retreatment. Wonderful. I think the second question again is the same. There was a bit of a lag in your voice, and then it went out for a little while. So I can
Yeah.
understand the doctor's query. You said that there is only a 20 rupees addition. Could you please re explain that?
Yes. Uh, from all the calculations that I gave you for class 1, class 2, class 3, and class 4, we arrived at an average figure of composite cost as 101.5. For the ease of calculation, I calculated it at 100 for any brand of composite. I believe I never told them to specify the composite brand, but whatever they were using, they were using. They belong to, one of them belonged to Maharashtra, one of them in Haryana, one of them was in Karnataka. So different composite brands, different. So I never asked them also. Just told them how to calculate it on an average for a gram syringe. How much does it take? So they calculated in that way. But what we arrived at a number was 100 rupees for composite, and the standard costing for bonding and etching was also close to 100. In one case it was 86, then another case it was, you can say, 110. So we arrived at the figure of 100 for that also. So I asked the colleagues to calculate what if, give me the calculation for your 20 restorations. If you have to do 20 restorations, what is your cost? At the cost of 100, 20 restorations would cost you 2000. For
1,000.
etching and bonding, at 100 again will cost you 4000 rupees. Now, with active Pronto, which is at 3400, or roughly you can say 3500, maybe at 3400, divided by for 20 fillings, you arrive at a composite cost of 170 rupees per filling, which means technically you are 70 rupees expensive than the normal 100 rupee cost. But then there is the catch. You get a etchant and bond free. Yes, it does not last you for full 20 restorations, but it does last for 10 restorations. That means your 10 restorations are free of cost, covered in that cost of 3400. So for the remaining 10 etching bonding, you spend at 100, 1000 rupees. So 3400 plus 1000 rupees was 4400. 4400 minus your 4000 calculation, you arrived at a figure of 400 difference. 400 divided by your 20 composites was 20 rupees per restoration. That was the eureka moment I had at 4:30 in the morning. Frankly, I was going through all the calculations since morning 3 o'clock. So I was
Yeah.
up just modifying my presentation. I missed my game today because of this. I normally have a Wednesday game. But yes, I was actually trying to arrive at a fact that what would be the difference that should appear as the one which should be the catch point. So when I reworked on the numbers, I arrived at a figure of 400, which was 20 rupees a mineral water bottle. And you're getting a mineralized composite in that. So what is the difference? A mineral water bottle and a mineral composite in that sense. Yes, in the lighter vein, but this is the way I arrived at a figure of 20 rupees. Technically, yes, you can argue that that composite cost is 170, but then you're getting something in bargain also from the company. That is the thing which actually narrows down your cost and your margin for that.
It is a brilliant way to calculate. So I think for all the doctors here who want to calculate even a mat cost, they should be able to calculate on a whole and not just on the apparent MRP that is given out, and that will give them a real idea of the costing and will help them understand their ROI. Also, I love, doctor, the way you explained ROI as an analysis from the point of gross profit margin, then fixed cost included, which will take you to your net profit margin. But I think the most interesting point today has been in the ROI when you have to adjust the increased value that you are adding. If you are not adding a great value, then increasing your price could be a big question mark, which really is the next question as well from the doctors. If we have to increase the price, how do we give a notional price to these value adds, because some of them are quite intangible? So any light you could throw on that, please?
The only thing, sorry, the only thing is, first of all, honestly make an attempt to calculate your cost for that procedure first. You arrive at a number. We've given the template for that. How to calculate which all things to be taken into account. I've given you, you can say that direct costing template also in the GPM. Then I gave you for the indirect costing your template for you percentage wise. Then I gave you from the balance sheet point of view also. Whichever way you want to pick, you can pick that. First arrive at a number and what actually are currently carrying. Then how much if you raise. We discussed this in my other presentations also. Yes, because the time was limited, so we could not.
Yes.
That if you charge this much, then you can actually raise your GPM and NPM. So that would actually give you a bare minimum figure that you should not charge below that before you arrive at a number. And if you have that number with you, then you will be at ease and at peace with your, you can say, current, that yes, I am actually doing a profitable dentistry. But yes, the first homework has to be at your end first. Then only you can think of charging more. First, know. The thing is, if you don't know where you are standing, how will you decide where you have to go? So for that, you should know your numbers, where you are currently standing, and then to go. Obviously, the north should be the way. North, not in that sense, but in the cost-wise sense, I mean.
And I also think along the presentation, Doc, you mentioned very interestingly, and I don't know whether all the doctors have really picked it up, is when you're adding value, quite a bit of it is quite priceless, right? So at the end of the day, I would understand that if you want to add value, you can arrive at a price that is comfortable for you as long as you have added value that is perceived as priceless for the patient. So if you are giving, what value can we give on trust? What value can we give on keeping a tooth alive versus keeping a tooth passive? There's very little that we can add on in value, but the real value really is what is comfortable for you to make a decent profit and what is comfortable for the patient to understand that what he is getting is quite priceless actually. So I think all in all, it's been absolutely enlightening, Doc. I don't think I can thank you enough for today. I would be very, very interested to see what are the questions that flow here on, and we would be very happy to take them on. We look forward to doing a lot more with you. Here, I'd like to mention to all our viewers, Dr. Bhavdeep will very soon be having a CTE online program for finance, and I would surely encourage all of you. I've done the program myself, an earlier one, not this one, and I think it's very, very important. It's about time that we understand finance rather than fear it. Thank you so much to everybody again for taking the time out for today, and of course, thank you so much, Dr. Bhavdeep, once again.
Pleasure is all mine, ma'am. Thank you so much.
This is Mala Malik. We and Dr. Bhavdeep, we sign out for today, and we see you soon again sometime soon. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.